from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Aletheia Marriage Counseling Services. Yes, we are joined here by the founder and owner, James Ramsey, who's helping so many here over the airwaves as we're doing today with telehealth. And he's been in business for quite some time, helping people, individuals, couples, families with his counseling. Let me have him introduce himself today. How are you, James? Or do I call you Jim? Both.
I'm doing fine. Jim, fine. Yeah.
Well, please.
Yeah, it's good to see you again.
You too, as always. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what it is you do, darling.
Well, I've just basically got involved in helping couples early in my life. When I went to college, I decided I wanted to be a counselor, and I got my state license in California in 1974, and I've been specializing in marriage counseling now for 50 years.
Wow.
And licensed here in Montana as well as California.
Awesome.
So.
Well, we're excited you're back, and if someone wants to reach out to you, could you just share a phone number, email, website, all the above?
Yeah, the email is jimramseymt, as in Montana, at gmail.com. My website is aletheia-marriagecounseling.com. We've got a lot of important information there if you want to visit that site. Want to call me, just call me on my phone, 406-370-3515.
Perfect. Well, you've helped so many people, including myself. I'm learning so much about men, women, the differences of each of us, what we need, what we don't need, what we want, what we don't want, and just all about the communication process of making marriage work, making a marriage last. And I know that's very important to you. And you also, are very faith-based. And, of course, you want the people to stick together, but you also can help individuals that are going before marriage, or even if they did decide to dissolve that union and get divorced. So there's a lot of counseling services available from Jim. And again, we're gracious that he joins us again here. And just want to let you know, I do have your notes, Jim. So we're going to get started. And we'll talk today to start. What are, can we say, the main kinds of love that are involved in marriage? And then what kind is needed for a lifetime marriage? Ooh, two-part question here. So what are the main kinds of love involved in marriage? Let's start with that one.
Well, I think what I would start with is kind of how we get started. I think that we find somebody that we're comfortable with, that we can talk and laugh and kind of be ourselves and kind of feel connected to a degree. They just feel like a neat person to be with. You're attracted to them physically as well. A lot of times, a big thing is just the physical attraction, and that gets all the juices flowing. And we're really attracted to that. But those two things, although companionship and attraction are really important, they are not what keeps you going for a lifetime.
Interesting.
There's a level of maturity that's required for you to have a really, really close partnership marriage for a life. And that is, when you see this person, as you get to know this person, you really want to give to them. You really want to do things for them. You want to make them happy. You want to support them. Maybe you're a woman and you're with this guy and you say, man, I would love to be a part of his life. I just want to see him be all that he can be. Maybe I could be that great wife behind a great man kind of thing, Or if the man looking at her, man, I'd love to see her have the things she didn't have when she was a girl. Or, I know she'd make such a great mom, and I'd really love to see her have children, and I'd love to help her raise those kids. And, there's a sense of dedication toward the person, a motivation to really make a difference in their life that's important to a long-term relationship.
Beautiful. That's beautifully said. And then what would you say about, is that the same type of love I would assume needed for the lifetime marriage, or does that change at all?
Well, actually, the more you give, the more you get. The reason having an attitude of giving is so important is you really can't outgive your partner unless you're a wife. Wives can outgive their husbands, I think, but you can't outgive a woman. When you really dedicate yourself to taking care of her and loving her and understanding her needs and meeting her needs and so forth, she will pay you back tenfold. And the more that happens, the more deep the relationship becomes, the more you appreciate each other, the more you really, really, really love each other. But it comes down to maturity and really understanding that giving is the key. when you're talking about love.
Oh, beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing that. And again, that's what we aspire to live our lives beautifully, to give, to be selfless, and to just hope that you find that love. And when you have it, a lot of people think they lose it. Maybe it's something that can be worked on. You could discover it again, but realize that love was there for a reason. And you got to explore that before you give up. Would you mind sharing a little bit about genuine love? I mean, people love all the time, but what exactly is genuine love?
Well, I've had women say, I just don't feel like he really loves me. That's a clue to what I'm talking about. To feel like somebody really loves you, you sense that they are concerned about your interest, that they really want to know you. They really want to support you in ways that are important to you. It's not like you just have theories about this other person. You try doing things, but you learn to know them and you do the things that make a difference.
Yeah.
And so the more you really meet each need and feel secure and connected, the more you do the same thing back. Vicious circles and misunderstandings and fear come into this equation and begin to really cause trouble if you're not careful.
Got it. So let's be careful for sure. Let's also important to bring out a lot of relationships, whether you're young or old, still we see a lot of immaturity, right? And let's talk about that, because there are a lot of immature individuals, right? Everyone's at a different emotional level when they meet, when they, so how can we, look up front and see if someone is immature, and what type of emotions would they display? And then how do we, again, I'm going to use the wrong words here, but fix them. We can't fix everyone, right? But how can we make them aware without insulting them? How am I supposed to say it? So first and foremost, what are the primary emotions? This is a tricky one.
Well, to start with, we have come into a period of time where our culture is immature. Okay. It's self-seeking. It's all about me. If I don't get my needs met, I'm out of here, kind of thing, And to top that off, it's been happening gradually over the last 2 or 3 generations. So we maybe grew up in a home where our parents were horrible models. They were 60, hippie, drug addicts, whatever, and you were neglected, you were abused, all kinds of things. So you don't really know what maturity looks like. You haven't lived with mature people. They're selfish and they're into all sorts of inappropriate things. So you recognize immaturity in a relationship when you see things like jealousy. Jealousy is coming from a person that's not secure. They really don't feel secure, and they're always worried somebody's better than they are, And it's not their fault. They grew up in a family maybe where they were insecure. They didn't get their needs met. They never got their father's blessing, for example. They never felt like they were successful and they're going to amount to something. Envy is another emotion that you see. That's an immature emotion. You don't envy what other people have. You get out and make things happen yourself, You're confident. Anger is a hallmark of immaturity. And anger has to do with fear. Yeah. You're afraid and you're reactionary and you're defensive and you're angry. But loneliness is another characteristic. They're not secure in themselves. I feel like they have to have other people doing things for them and meeting their needs, and they have to be with people in order to be comfortable. They're not comfortable just being by themselves. And of course, fear is a huge thing. In fact, I think fear and love are polar. Aww. The more you have love, the less fear there is. The more fear you have, the less likely you're going to have to be really in a loving relationship, because fear produces anger and all kinds of other negative behaviors that really destroy or damage a loving relationship.
Got it. Well, also, how do you navigate those waters if you think someone is a little more immature with their emotions than you, right? What do you do? I mean, does it just mean it's not going to work? Do you move on, or do you help that person work on something but they might not think they need work on? This is tricky.
Well, I think that, first of all, if you're a woman, you're probably more discerning of the problems than a man is, because you read all kinds of signals that a man doesn't pick up on. And so rather than being critical of him, you want to be supportive and begin to process some of those things with him, begin to understand what's going on and help him without it making him feel like he's inadequate or he's bad or whatever, That's a hard thing.
Yeah.
You may need a third party help, because some of these things are really difficult by yourself to deal with. But the key is, what's motivating you? Are you embarrassed by him? Are you
Mm-hmm.
disgusted because he's not meeting your needs? Are you offended? Are or are you seeing, wow, this is serious, and it's really impairing him in a lot of areas, not only his relationship with me, but it's affecting his upward mobility and his ability to stay with a good job, etc. And so the more you love the other person and try to make help, give help, the better, As soon as you get impatient and angry and frustrated, and that just makes a vicious circle.
Sure does. All right. Well, thank you, Jim, for that. What about the kinds of behaviors that we should be looking for that are really displayed in a mature and loving relationship? Tell us the flip side of that.
Well, you want to be with somebody that's secure, somebody that knows how to work and achieve things. They feel confident, but also that they're transparent. They're able to freely talk about mistakes, weaknesses, They kid about themselves. They freely admit when they blew it. You're looking for somebody that's transparent. They're secure enough to be who they are and not have to hide things, or not to cover them, or try to project something that's not there. And I think, again, coming back to maturity, the hallmark of maturity is selflessness, a real willingness to give of themselves and sacrifice for somebody and put themselves out for somebody else with no strings attached. That's the main thing we learn about God from Scripture. And Jesus was love without strings attached. Grace is unmerited favor. So the more we become like our Creator, the more we're able to give unmerited favor. You're giving something they don't deserve. You're being kind and friendly to somebody that maybe doesn't inherently deserve it. They've offended you in some way, or they hurt you in some way, but you can see past that, and you can begin to care about them.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing that. And it's so aspirational to find that true love that's mature, that's beautiful. And I look at it this way. Like, I know a few couples that have been married for over 50 years, including my aunt and my uncle. Just last week, they celebrated their 50th. And I'm like, what's the keys to success? And I grill her, and I'm going to see her on Thanksgiving. And she's like, oh, no, it's not what you think. It wasn't that easy. We've had our ups, our downs, our fights, our disagreements, our, even thinking we were, separating back in the day. And she's like, we just worked through it. And it's amazing. It's like, I aspire to have that and to be like that. But like, she's trying to make me understand. It wasn't always like that. And is there any such thing as the perfect couple that you really can look up to, or everyone, what we think is perfection, or do all people go through the ups and downs?
Yeah, God's the only one that's perfect. We all have downs, and the thing that's really important here is that you get through them. You go through the hard times. There's a type of marriage counseling that's called narrative therapy that's based on working with a couple to talk through the dimensions of their life from the beginning to their current. Yeah. And the therapist helps the client to talk fully about the good times, but also talk fully about the bad times, the hard times. Mm-hmm. The more each of them talk about these experiences they've had, good, bad, and ugly, the more they begin to realize, man, we've gone down quite a road. Man, we should be proud of ourselves.
Yeah.
And so you begin to help them to have the frame of reference of the relationship rather than me. And you begin to get proud of the relationship and what we've been able to do with hard childbirth and with job problems and money problems and health problems and this and that. And the more they can see what they've done for each other and with each other, how they've helped each other, the more they begin to feel secure and proud of their relationship. And in fact, one of the things they do in that treatment program is have them write a letter to themselves, each of them, from the relationship. The relationship writes them a letter.
Yeah.
And talks to them about, I'm so proud of what you did back when you were 21, when you had all this on you and you still hung in there. And the time when that baby came, that was hard. That was really hard, but you stuck with it, And so they prescribe a certain length of the letter and so forth. It's not huge, but when they write that letter and they read that letter, there's something happens. Say,
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. We're not perfect, but by George, look what we've done.
Yes. You
And they
sound.
need that,
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what comes with going through the ins and outs and ups and downs. You begin to have confidence. You begin to be proud of your partner and proud of yourself in a sense, that look what we've done.
Beautiful. Well, also, let me ask the primary needs of a wife, would you say that are a lot of times overlooked or not recognized by the husband? So, what are those needs that a wife has that maybe the husband is not understanding, seeing?
Yeah, that's really a good question because men give their wives what they think they need or what they think they want.
Mm-hmm.
And often that's not really what's important. Sometimes you'll be in a relationship where the wife finally feels secure enough to talk to you and say, honey, I appreciate this or that you've got done for me. But that's really not that important to me.
Mm-hmm.
What I really wish you could do is this. And they go, really? Well, that's pretty easy. That's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
For example, listen to me, just sit by the fire and be with me or hold hands with me in public sometime. You did it way back when, but I love it when you do that. Or I just want, and a lot of times it's small things and just kind of to a man, you want to give her lots of money or great big fancy gifts or something. She usually wants something personal, something that connects with her, that reinforces her sense of connection with you. And so when you get right down to it, if you want to know what a woman wants, ask her.
Ah.
A smart husband begins to focus on learning her. And a smart wife begins to learn. It's important for me to teach him about me because he's not a man and he doesn't know what it feels like to be a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And so I need to ask him for things instead of being resentful that he should know that and he's not doing it. How's he going to know it? He's not a woman,
Now,
And so
you should tell him.
you ask him for things and he starts studying you and he starts asking questions. That's the key to growing somewhere with each other.
But after you go over it and talk to him and tell him what you need or want, if he doesn't agree or doesn't, then that's a problem, right?
Yeah, it can be a problem. And I think that, reinforce what he's tried, reinforce his heart. Men like the phrase, it's the thought that counts.
Mm-hmm.
But roll their eyes when we say that, To them, actions speak louder than words. If you did the right things, it'd be better than having these thoughts,
So true. I like that one. Guilty. Yeah. I get it. All right.
So you got to just start talking more about real things and asking questions and being patient with each other and realize that this takes a while to learn.
Got it. And what if, men are out there and it's like, it's so weird because I'm trying to act like a man when I'm asking a question. I'm thinking in the different perspective, but I can't. Let me just read it as is because it gets confusing. Okay, hold on. What are some of the types of ways that you can recognize that your wife's needs are not being met?
Okay. If she's quiet, there's nothing scarier than a quiet woman.
That's so true.
I'll tell you what, if you're married to a woman that's getting quiet, you better ask her, can we spend a weekend together and spend most of your time sitting on the side of the bed and asking her questions? And, because she needs to open up. She apparently doesn't feel like she can talk to you. She doesn't feel like you listen to her. Yeah. You just react and tell her this or tell her that or straighten her out this way or that way. She doesn't like that. Mm-hmm. And so pretty soon she shuts up, and that's dangerous. Boy, you don't want a wife shutting up because sooner or later she's going to leave you if you're not careful.
Yeah, very true.
So yeah, ask her and pay attention. Okay, is she quiet? Another thing is she moody? Is she inclined to want to be alone? Is she kind of depressed?
Pushing you away?
Is she just kind of mopey? Is she not as happy? Doesn't smile as much as she used to? She's harsh with the children. Stuff that's kind of different than her normal way of being. Anything that's different is a warning sign.
Got it. Yeah, you're so right on that.
And she thinks she's sending out messages that are on neon sign. You should be reading them. But you're a guy, you're just saying, well, she's kind of tired, I guess, she's kind of having a bad day. But boy, you got to read what's going on and ask questions.
Got it. That is so funny. It is so funny. Oh my, you have it, you down pat. Perfect, 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 perfect. All right, because I'm the woman on the other hand, in a sense, and you're right. I get quiet, I get edgy, I get angry, I bite my tongue, and it's just like, don't you see that I'm upset? Like, don't you see? Like, and it's like, what? Yeah. No. Sometimes, okay. Yeah, we get that.
And the typical thing a man will do when a woman is edgy or grumpy or negative, he'll just exit stage left. He figures, I don't need this. Guys hate negativity.
Yeah.
The worst thing in the world is a woman that's negative or too emotional.
Yeah.
And man, those are signals you got to read and do something about. You're here to help them, not judge them and evaluate them.
Read and run?
Yeah.
Read and run.
Well, that's what they do. They subconsciously are reading, but they're running because they don't feel comfortable. They don't know what to do.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, we always have to be very aware. Okay. Perfect. What would you say the best way that a husband, to learn what his wife's needs are and how to meet them? I'm just going to jump in and say, tell him, but you tell me. You're the expert here.
Well, I think he needs to ask questions, but a woman will help him the most by letting him know what she needs and really respond to what he does. You could just lead him right out of the funk by just little here and a little there. Hey, can we go down to Dairy Queen? Or hey, can we go for a walk? I'd just love to spend a little time with you. Or can we just take a whole Saturday and just go goof off? Men love to do things. They love to go on dates. Women get all caught up in the house and kids and forget about that, And so if you start showing him personal attention, I want to be with you. I want to do this with you. I want to do that with him. And then you're just thrilled with it. This was such a great night. I feel like I'm 21 again. Whatever. You are giving him very important information. Oh, this is what she likes. Oh, this is how I can make her happy. See, because guys get to the point where they don't know what to do. It seems like she's always moody or upset or mad, and they just give up. They feel like failures. So the more you tell him what to do that works and he does it, and then you're all thrilled with it, pretty soon he says, oh man, maybe it's all okay. Or maybe I can be charming after all.
Yeah. Very, very true. Oh, it's a crazy world we live in. All right. What's the biggest single mistake a man can make with his wife? And then how can you correct that mistake? Because we all make mistakes.
I think the biggest mistake a man can make with a woman is just not recognizing what she needs, because you just don't inherently know what it is. And then you kind of react to what you don't like. You kind of pull away and shut down because you don't want to be hurting yourself. A lot of things from childhood come up, and so when I'm hurting and I don't know what to do, I just go out in the woods and shoot my BB gun. I go get in my room and get on the phone or the computer. But we have to get out of that and actually talk to her. Get alone with her. Say, honey, I'm in this thing for the long haul. I fell in love with you 10 years ago. I still love you. And I'm worried because you seem to be kind of down and I don't know what to do. And you seem to be angry and I don't fully know why. And I don't know, I'm probably doing some things wrong here.
Yeah.
Maybe I understand women think men are always trying to fix stuff. Do you think I do that? Well, yeah,
Well, yeah. Oh,
you might want to go easy on that one, but
totally right.
But he's got to find that there's hope here. This is the woman I love. She's an intelligent, wonderful woman. She loves me. She loves our kids. So what's wrong? And then you be, as a man, the initiator. Maybe we should start reading books, or maybe we ought to get somebody to help us, or maybe we ought to hang out with Bill and Sue. They seem to have it together.
Right? Oh, that's great. Oh, that is great. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Well, holidays are here too, right? Do we see a lot of couples, you go through a lot more turmoil? I just have to ask that, right? And yeah, right? We do. Guilty.
I think there's a lot of reasons. Part of it is they tend to be extra family. You're with in-laws, and sometimes that can be awkward because you feel like your husband's more into his mom than you, kind of thing, or hang out with his brother all the time. his brother and dad and him are going to be watching football nonstop and not want even help with the dishes or anything, So there's different things like that. I think, too, there's different ideas about what to give and whether to give. Sometimes guys are too tight, and they have a woman that has a very generous family where everybody gives everybody gifts, and he resents having to give in-laws gifts. There's all kinds of weird things that could come up in those times. I mean, not necessarily weird, but...
No, I know what you mean. Oh, my goodness.
And they need to be talked about.
Yeah. Well, one last question for you. Yeah. How does a wife know that her husband really loves her?
He puts her first.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've said this a few times, but I think that the key to a loving marriage for both spouses is for each of them to know that their partner puts them first above everything else. There's no person, thing, or activity in their life more important to them than you are. Oh. Each of you can demonstrate by your behavior that that's true. I'll sacrifice for you. I'll give you the time. Maybe I want to go hunting, but if you're down and need my help, I'll do it. Wow. But you got to have an attitude that's mature, that you want to give, you want to take care of, you want to provide, you want to understand, not just mad because you don't get what you want.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Oh, well, I want to say I'm assuming we're not on next week. Next week this is Thursday, right? So it's Thanksgiving. So I don't know if we're on another day or we're there.
Yeah, we're on Monday next week.
Okay. Oh, good. So I still get to talk to you. Good. Maybe we should talk a little about coping with your loved one for the holidays and how we could avoid potential problems and arguments when the in-laws do come over.
Yeah.
Just a suggestion.
For sure.
All right, good. Well, looking forward to speaking with you. We'll speak on Monday, right?
Yep.
All right, good. Thank you so much.
11 o'clock.
Perfect. Okay. Aletheia Marriage Counseling Services, everyone. Please reach out to Jim Ramsey. Tell him we sent you, 406-251-7073. And again, always a pleasure. Thanks so much, Jim. Bye-bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. I came out in the 11th grade. Nobody was embracing you. The kids were cruel. It was very difficult to be gay. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
The hard part was determining that I was going to do it, but I definitely didn't do it alone.
At age 30, with the help of her mentor, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
I have a mentor, Maria. She convinced me to continue my education and to finish what I started to get my diploma. Just never judges. She's a true role model. If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.